Thank you. Thank you both for your testimony today. As Chairman Cole said yesterday during the hearing, advanced appropriations will continue. They will continue as we try to work toward making that health program mandatory funding. I think most people agree that it ought to be. It's the only health program the federal government does that's not mandatory funding. All the rest are. And as Chairman Cole said yesterday, this was the first federal government health program, and it's the only one that's not mandatory. So we'll be working on that and trying to get that done. But I did notice, and I've heard it more yesterday during testimony and today, both of you mentioned law enforcement and the need on the reservations and stuff to increase funding for law enforcement. It's something that we're very concerned about, something that we did in last year's bill, not nearly enough of what needs to be done. But law enforcement on reservations is critical. And with drug cartel, they go to reservations because they know that there's no law enforcement there that's going to pick them up, or it's lacking, And so I think that's a real challenge for us. But I've heard that more than I have in past years about the need to increase law enforcement funding. So anyway, thank you for your testimony. Ms. Pingree?
Yeah, thank you both for your testimony, and we certainly heard many of the same concerns yesterday and know that it's really important for us to meet our treaty and trust obligations and increase those numbers. So I hope we're able to this year. Chief Connors, I'm interested to know a little bit more about you ended with the cleanup site, and so is that still pending being approved for cleanup, or where does that stand?
Well, it's cleaned up in EPA's eyes, not in our community's eyes.
Okay.
There's a giant toxic dump sitting there still. It's capped according to EPA's remedy, but not according to our tribal remedies. It is still leaching water into our community, into our rivers, which leads to our drinking water system. Mm-hmm. It's traditionally been leaking water into a cove adjacent to the GM site, which is on our territory that our kids used to swim in. Our former chief used to swim in there. Wow. And across the river, across the site, our current chief used to swim in that river, the other grass river. And that happened for years and years and years. And it's had health disparities for our community, cancer at an alarmingly high rate, and other diseases. And it's centralized in a cluster near where the GM site was. Mm-hmm. And in Messina, it's also said that there's another cluster by where the Alcoa site was. So it's been happening for decades, and there's been cleanup according to EPA's remedy, but not according to our remedy.
Got it. So are you pursuing anything right now with the EPA about that?
We've been looking at full funding of a full removal. We've been advocating for that for years. Several years ago, it was $20 to $22 million that the estimate was, but there's been no approval for that. Mm-hmm. We still push for that. We have annual meetings with EPA, and it's on the table every year, and it's been on the table for the past 15 or 20 years or more. Wow. Well, we push for that every year. We haven't gotten it yet, though. That's why it's mentioned today.
Great. Well, thanks for bringing it to our attention. I'll certainly look into that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you both for your testimony.
Mr. Elsie.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to continue on with that. This site's been this way. So it was a 1959 to 2009 aluminum parts plant.
Right.
And they've been saying it's complete, right? They spent a lot of money on it, but they kind of stopped working on it a couple of years ago because the EPA says it's done.
The EPA says it's cleaned up to their satisfaction, yes.
And what kind of cluster did you have? A cancer cluster?
Yes, there's cancer all in the area, the Racket River area. Mm-hmm. Many instances of cancer and other diseases.
So what's the resolution here? If the EPA says they're done, they run it. You say it's not done. What's happening next?
I believe nothing is happening next for EPA because there's continued monitoring on our end. But what we want and pushing for is taking that complete dump, removing it, and getting it out of our community because it's still sitting there.
What's in the dump?
The toxins from decades of operations from General Motors.
But I thought that was cleaned up.
It's not. It's sitting there.
Okay.
There's a giant heaping mound of toxins sitting there, cleaned up, covered by dirt.
Covered. Oh, that's the cleanup.
That's their remedy, yes.
Okay. So it's still leaching into the groundwater?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for clarification.
Our Environment Division does testing constantly in the area, and it's happening.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Let me follow, if I could, for just a second on what Congressman Elsey said, what's next? What is next? I mean, you sit and talk to EPA all the time. What's your next steps?
On their end, monitoring. On our end, we keep pushing for the complete removal. We want the dump removed and out of there.
EPA?
It's been talked about.
Has it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ms. McCollum.
So, Mr. Hill, the things that you had in common in your testimony, I want to acknowledge that and thank you for that. But I've worked on cleaning a lot of contaminated sites. They've mostly been DOD sites. The state of Minnesota has intervened through our pollution control agency. Maybe every tribe relations are different. And we got into how clean is clean.
Right.
So sometimes they decide that they're only going to clean up to industrial standards. And the land was not an industrial site before they got there. It was in your...
It was clean.
It was clean. It was in your territory. One of the things, and forgive me, this just tripped my trigger, so I went and Googled it.
Right.
They said you were not granted. They were not granted access to 2 areas of tribal land. Was that because you were disputing how clean is clean, or are you familiar? With
that was a conflict with a family that owns the property.
Okay.
And they've been pushing for the full removal also.
They
were pushing
weren't
for
granting access because they weren't going to sign off on unless then how clean is clean.
Yeah.
And in here it says that the EPA will perform its work in 2026. Is that when they capped it?
No, they capped it probably 5 to 7 years ago.
So do you know what they've done that they finished in 2026?
That's this year. I don't believe they've done anything yet this year, but there's probably continued talks with our Environment Division and EPA. We have annual meetings with them, but the cap that they've done is just covering up what's sitting there, and it's still leaching into the ground.
So I've worked with the DOD and the EPA on clearing lands that primarily that used for arsenals, and their big thing was, we'll just cap it. It's fine. We just push it on to the next generation. The caps can fail and everything else. So, you've got our attention.
Yeah. That was the plan.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Thank you both for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. Eugene DeCora and Joseph Rupnick. Yeah, right on board. Yep. Move your hands. I want to see the beadwork. All right. Great work.
Thank you.
Gene, you're first.